The door exploded inward with a crash, with splintering across the floor. HOA Karen stormed in, heels clicking, phone live streaming every second. She didn't notice the calm woman beside me, the state attorney general. In that instant, Karen's power trip turned into the biggest mistake of her life. 6 months earlier, life felt perfect. My name's Marcus, and after 3 decades working power lines in every miserable storm this county ever saw, I'd finally earned my retirement. The crown jewel? My grandfather's fishing cabin tucked on Clearwater Lake. 2 acres of pine trees, creaking porch boards, and a hand-built stone fireplace. Pop laid himself back in 1963. Most mornings I'd sip black coffee watching mist rise off the lake, loons teaching their chicks to dive. The place was off-grid by choice. Solar panels, a well that tasted like mountain air, a septic system Pop swore would outlive us all. Every corner held a memory, every board carried history. Pop used to tell me, "The land picks you, not the other way around." He also warned me, if someone wants your land real bad, find out why. It's worth more than they're telling you. At the time, I laughed off the advice. But soon, I'd learn exactly what he meant. She showed up like a thunderstorm in designer heels. Delilah Cromwell, though around here we just called her HOA Karen. Fresh from some California suburb where bossing around neighbors must have been her full-time job, she rolled into our quiet lakeside community behind the wheel of a pearl-white Escalade with vanity plates reading Rule 1. Karen strutted around like she was sheriff, except instead of a badge, she wore her shiny HOA president pin on her blazer. Her mission: transform our rustic cabins into some exclusive resort community. One morning, I found her taping a notice to my screen door. Violation: unsightly dock. Fine: $500. Compliance required within 72 hours. I stared at the paper, stunned. This was the dock Pop and I had built when I was 12. The same one we reinforced during summers filled with fishing and laughter. Now suddenly it was a community hazard? When I tried explaining my cabin predated the HOA by 40 years, she smirked, hands on hips, and said, "Everyone on this lake answers to me, sweetie." I thought it was just an annoying power trip. Turns out, it was only the beginning of something much darker. The citations multiplied like weeds. My solar panels? Non-regulation hazard. My garden? Eyesore threatening property values. Even Pop's hand-carved porch railing got flagged. Every notice carried another fine. Neighbors who'd waved at me for years suddenly avoided eye contact. Later, I learned Karen pressured them. "Complain about Marcus, or you'll face violations yourselves." One night, I discovered spray paint across my mailbox in bright orange letters. Comply or leave. My hidden security camera caught the license plate of Karen's Escalade at 2:30 a.m. When I called the sheriff's office, guess who showed up? Deputy Chad Cromwell, Karen's nephew. He shrugged, said, "Probably just kids," and left. The intimidation only grew bolder. She parked her SUV sideways in my driveway to block me in. She created a beautification committee, a polite name for a hit squad of neighbors reporting whatever she told them to. Social media posts popped up accusing me of being reckless, uncaring, even dangerous. That was when Pop's words came roaring back. If someone wants your land real bad, find out why. Karen wasn't just power tripping. She wanted my land, and she was willing to break me to get it. My first weapon wasn't anger. It was curiosity. I headed to the county courthouse, that musty basement where property records gather dust. With the help of Betty, an old clerk who remembered Pop from fishing tournaments, I dug up the original deed. Sure enough, our property line stretched 50 feet into the lake. That dock wasn't trespassing on community waters. It was sitting squarely on my land. But the deeper I dug, the uglier it got. HOA financial records revealed $280,000 collected for dock repairs that never happened. Another $150,000 for landscaping billed to a company owned by Karen's brother-in-law, incorporated just weeks after she became president. Storm damage insurance claims? Filed on days the National Weather Service reported sunny skies. Monthly payments to a Clearwater Property Solutions? Just a P.O. box linked to Karen's neighborhood. It hit me like cold water. She wasn't just harassing me. She was embezzling from every single homeowner. The fines, the intimidation, the forced sales. All of it fed her scheme to drive down property values, funnel money to family companies, and cash out with developers waiting in the shadows. Karen wasn't a bossy neighbor. She was running a criminal empire from her HOA pin. I wasn't alone anymore. Neighbors who'd been too scared started whispering their own stories. Bogus fines, threats, forced sales. Retired Judge Bill Carter dropped by with a thermos of coffee and said, "Marcus, no one fights this hard unless there's big money involved." My old union buddy Jake, an electrician, inspected my solar panels on camera, proving they exceeded safety standards. Other coworkers drove out to vouch for me. Even the local historical society defended my cabin as a cultural landmark. The tide was turning. My lawyer friend Chuck urged me to keep meticulous records. Together we built a thick binder. Every notice, every false inspection, every threat. That's when the state attorney general's office reached out. They'd been tracking HOA corruption rings across the state, and my evidence fit their puzzle perfectly. The FBI got looped in too. Still, the agents warned me, "We need her to incriminate herself, catch her in the act." And suddenly, the perfect plan came together. The Attorney General planned a private meeting at my cabin, the very place Karen had been targeting for months. We prepped like it was a military operation. Hidden cameras wired into the rafters. Undercover officers scattered across the property. Microphones disguised as fishing gear. Backup teams stationed at the road. Neighbors stood ready too, armed not with pitchforks, but smartphones to record anything Karen tried. I remember sitting at Pop's old oak table that morning, papers spread out, my hands shaking with nervous energy. Agent Torres from the FBI leaned in and whispered, "If she shows up, don't stop her. Let her commit the crime herself." It wasn't a question of if. It was a question of when. Because Karen's ego wouldn't let her miss a chance to storm into my cabin and prove her authority. And that would be her downfall. Gravel sprayed outside, the roar of her Escalade arriving too fast. Voices shouted about camera angles. Then the crash. My front door flew off its hinges. Karen stormed in, phone raised high, live streaming her exposé. She ranted about government corruption, about conspiracies, about her jurisdiction over this lake. Then the Attorney General calmly stood, pulled out her badge and introduced herself. Karen's face froze, her live stream still rolling as FBI agents stepped in. Handcuffs snapped shut, echoing through my cabin like the punchline to a joke we'd been waiting months to hear. Her empire crumbled in real time, broadcast to thousands. The trial moved quickly. Karen was sentenced to 3 years in federal prison, ordered to pay $340,000 in restitution, and permanently banned from serving on any HOA board in the country. Her husband, exposed for leaking insider zoning information, resigned in disgrace and served time of his own. The HOA was dissolved. In its place, we formed the Clearwater Volunteer Association. No fines, no dictators, just neighbors helping neighbors. I received whistleblower compensation, $45,000. More than the money, it felt like vindication for every sleepless night she'd caused me. Better still, the community healed. Families who'd been driven out returned. The Hendersons bought back a cabin 2 lots away. Mrs. Patterson moved home from Florida and threw a lakeside block party that lasted until sunrise. Property values rebounded. My once targeted solar panels became a model for sustainable living. I even started a scholarship fund in Pop's name, helping kids train for trades just like he taught me. For the first time in months, I could sit on the porch, watch the sunset over the lake, and feel peace again. Karen thought she ruled our lake. She forgot one thing. Bullies fall hardest when truth shows up. Got your own HOA nightmare? Drop it in the comments, these stories matter.